All right, 7 News at 4:30 begins with a developing story. Police chase going on live right here in Hollywood, northbound 95.
7 Skyforce over the scene. Ralph, looks like high speeds right there with this chase so far.
Yeah, high speeds and some dangerous activity here. This black Mercedes wanted because it was taken in an armed robbery, a felony charge here. Dark tinted windows, black Mercedes was the description given out. Has been being followed by police for a while, and then just about 3 minutes ago he just took off, and now he's going. You see him go through the northbound HOV lanes there, the high occupancy lane, express lane. I don't know exactly what they call it up here in Broward, but is traveling at a high rate of speed here, trying to elude both Dade and Broward police officers here. Hollywood Boulevard, we just passed it about maybe 2 or 3 seconds ago there, but northbound now, a high rate of speed. I'm going to try to call up my speedometer here in just a second, see if I can get it up for you. But we've got the aviation unit, a helicopter, police helicopter from Dade County, and also one from Broward County following the vehicle as it crosses over there back through those poles on I-95 now, all the way into the breakdown lane. A very dangerous situation here on I-95 during the rush hour traffic on election day here. So police officers following this vehicle. They want to get the vehicle to stop. We're going to go into our normal mode here and tell you that this is live and unedited, and we advise you to be judicious about what you watch and what you might see here on TV, because we don't know how this is going to play out, because it's pretty much raw video that you're watching. But again, a black Mercedes traveling at a high rate of speed northbound. At least one person in that vehicle from what we've heard. Now coming up to the exit ramp here. And we're actually hearing now on the radio that they're being advised that the media is overhead. So I guess WSVN is the media that they're referring to, following this Mercedes here as it exits here. It's going to be going eastbound on Sterling Road. I can tell you that much. It's eastbound on Sterling Road here, going through traffic, and is going to go through that red light. Ooh, just misses that vehicle at the intersection, and a second vehicle at the intersection there. Continues eastbound. Let's see here. Okay, you can see the signs there as we go through the intersections there. I'm just adjusting my contrast a little bit so we get a little bit better picture here. We're up at about 2,000 feet here. We're getting close to the airport in case we have to go across the top of the airport there. Eastbound on Sterling Road, now making a right turn. Vehicle's going to be going northbound.
So, Ralph, we're watching, of course, and listening with you as well. But, you know, Jeff and I watching closely, too. It looks like perhaps one vehicle was hit in the tail, the rear section of the car. And this car is flying right now in this residential area.
Right. He's gonna give the vehicles on the ground a run for their money, but he's not going to be able to outrun the helicopter there. So the helicopter's calling out on the radio, calling out the locations as it zips past a postal carrier there. North 10th Street is what I'm hearing now, and 12th Avenue here in the area just south of Fort Lauderdale International Airport. So not stopping at this time. Widen out here a little bit so you can see it's got a straight shot now. There's a police helicopter on your left-hand side there. Approaching Sheridan Street right now. He's going to come up to the intersection of Sheridan Street right there, and he's going to make another right turn now. And now he's going to be going westbound.
But it doesn't look like we don't see police vehicles directly behind him. Is it just the chopper, you think?
They're a little ways behind, and I can tell you right now that we did see both undercover and officers in marked vehicles following this vehicle here on Pembroke Road. That was the first time that we caught up with this whole thing that when it started, and then I think once he saw the marked vehicles, he started to take off. Now he's in the what would be the left-hand turn lane here just before making a U-turn. Now he's coming back at us, Al. Okay.
And obviously, Ralph, getting very close to rush hour here on Election Day. A lot of people going out there to vote here, getting off of work. Any details on what happened with that armed robbery? Any information on that at this point? What started this whole thing?
Only that you know how when these robberies occur, they have what's called a bolo. They put out a description of the vehicle, and somebody spotted a vehicle fitting that description on closer inspection, trying to get the vehicle to stop. That's when it took off. Now here's your bailout. You've got people getting out of the back. 2 people get out of the back, 1 on the ground there. We're going to stay with this. Car is now rolling, which means that there's nobody in the car. They're going to put it in park there. We have 2 people being taken into custody. Officer with a taser pointed at 1. So we have 2 in custody. 1 ran across the street. We'll back out here and see. Yeah, we've got a. There you go. Going through the houses, we've got police officers running through the houses here.
So we just saw the takedown. They stopped the car. Two, looks like males were arrested. One took off. And what we're seeing here are these two police officers surrounding this white home.
Right.
On foot, correct.
Getting tricky with those trees as well in these neighborhoods.
Okay, they're looking in the backyards here of a neighborhood. Let me see if I can punch up the camera here, the one that will give me the maps there. So it's called Hood Street. Hood Street is the location there, right off of North 24th Avenue. One subject at large right now, but we have police officers. There's some of those marked vehicles we were telling you that we're following are in the neighborhood now, checking out the location right there.
Ralph, I'm sure we get Hollywood Police on scene. What other organizations are helping out here? BSO, FHP?
We have both Dade County and Broward County police officers. We have a Dade unit and a Broward Sheriff's helicopter now over the scene in this area.
So from the looks of everything, it looks like maybe one other driver was hit by this vehicle that refused to stop. Luckily, nobody else appears to have been hit because this driver was really traveling at a high rate of speed in these side streets and also on the highway. But again, as you just saw from Ralph's picture there and live here on Channel 7 here on 7 News at 4:30, the vehicle did stop. Two men were arrested. Charged, or arrested rather, right there on the ground, but one got away on foot, and now police are searching for this person in this residential area. You said Hood Street, Ralph?
Yeah, Hood Street, 24th. We have K9 officers on the ground now. They're going to let the dog take care of the search in this area. So if you know anybody that lives in this area, or if you're watching right now, you're just going to want to stay inside until the police have got the third person in custody.
And looking at the peripheral here, Ralph, you know, obviously once they've zeroed in on a neighborhood and those guys bailed out of that car a few moments ago, pretty densely packed there with homes and trees. I would imagine that a perimeter is being set up in that area too, right?
Yeah, there will not be very far for anybody to go because there's so many police officers that do respond when these calls go out that by the time a person gets out on foot, they lose the advantage of the vehicle and pretty much play into the hands of law enforcement there. So again, let me just bring the camera back out here, show you the wider picture. It says my thing here, Hood Street and Raleigh Street, and then that would be the north and south, and then on the west side would be North 24th Avenue, and on the east would be 23rd Avenue. So that's the 2-block, 3-block area here right off of Sheridan Street that they're concentrating on. A chase that lasted on the air, I would say maybe, what, 12 or 13 minutes, and we saw the bailout there. The vehicle just came to a stop. The driver did not even put the car in park. Just rolled to a stop there. We had the police officers jump out of a vehicle, take two into custody there in the middle of the intersection, and then now we've got a person that they're looking for who bailed out on foot in this neighborhood here. So the canines on the ground, police officers are searching for that third subject.
And in so many of these police chases, it seems like 99.9% of the time, they always get caught. So even though this person is on foot, chances are police will find their person.
Yeah, that's the way these things usually work out. No weapons were seen at this time. We didn't see anybody brandishing a gun or anything like that. So that's a good sign for everybody involved here. Hopefully this can end peaceably.
And Ralph, as we wait to see what happens with this third suspect, again, we saw the police dogs there on the ground, officers on foot trying to find this guy. What's the traffic like in the area? It looks like it's starting to slow down. They're not sure what road that is off to the right.
Off to the right is that's going to be Sheridan Street to the cutting through the diagonal there to the top of the screen there. That's looking eastbound at the top of the screen. So you've got a little bit of a traffic backup right there as people go around it. You know, a little onlooker delay is I guess that's the expression that they use. But this is the area right there. You can see all the police cars that have stopped here, SUVs and stuff that have stopped right here in the swale. Police officers out on foot now searching this neighborhood for that third subject.
You know, you always wonder what goes through the minds of somebody who's behind the wheel of a police chase, but at some point, the decision was made to just jump out of the car. As you said, Ralph, and we saw here live, car kept rolling and everybody bailed, except for one person they're still looking for.
Like you said, it does turn out, it's all about choices at that point. What are you going to do? What's your next step? And most of the time, they don't have a chance to think it through, and it's fight or flight. And the flight seems to be the one that takes over there. So we've got the dog now on the ground. One of the canine officers, well, let me see whether they follow it. It looks like they're following a duck. I don't know exactly, but something's waddling in the backyard there. So they're going to work their way around the duck and continue to look for the suspect.
And this all started off with Ralph, like you mentioned early on in this chase, with an armed robbery, trying to get more information at the 7 News desk in terms of what happened in that case, what started this whole thing. If you can, obviously as you were watching the chase go on northbound 95 there, it's normal procedure, right? When you reach these high speeds, in some cases, we see officers back off, and that's for the safety of the general public there on the road, right?
Yeah, I submit to you in this case, in this particular case here, that vehicle, that Mercedes, took off, and there was nobody directly behind it. There were two helicopters over it and watching where they were going and guiding police along the way. But there was no ground high-speed chase on I-95 that was taking place. They were pursuing it as fast as they could within the limits of the traffic, and just letting the helicopter let them know. So as they're advising, Dade County is advising Broward that the car is coming north. Then Broward County picks it up, and they dispatch their helicopter to get into the area. Once it's in the area and also has eyes on the subject vehicle or the vehicle that's being pursued, then now the two counties are talking back and forth, and then Florida Highway Patrol is also notified, because they're the ones that are monitoring and taking care of things that happen out on the major highways, including I-95. So you've got those three agencies involved. You've got police officers that are coming to work, police officers that are going home, and these don't necessarily have to be officers that work for either one or any of those three organizations. They could be they could work on the beach, they could work someplace else. So they've got all these other officers here that also respond out on a situation like this to help in this and to bring the subjects into custody and suspects into custody and find out exactly what the specifics are. But as you see, the police helicopter circling around there now, trying to gain eyes. There's a lot of foliage and a lot of trees in this area, so it's making it a little bit more difficult from the air. But they do have the location where the people bailed out, and they do know the direction of travel for that one suspect that got away from the two police officers that were on the ground at the initial stop. So it should be a short time here before they take the third one into custody.
Well, and this original call came out as an armed robbery involving that black Mercedes that was on the run. So we don't know if any of these suspects had a weapon or where this third person is, hiding in a tree or in a home, or what the situation is. But they're determined to find them.
Right, and that's part of the issue that the police, I guess, have to deal with on a regular basis. Is they have the information that's gathered from another agency, that from an incident that occurred either earlier in the day or earlier in the week, and they have to go based on that information of what occurred at the time when the robbery took place. If it was a strong arm robbery or an armed robbery, with the difference being one where a weapon is either implied or shown to the subject, the victim, or the person that's being robbed. If you have your hand in your coat and you're pointing your finger out through the coat and it looks like a gun, then you're implying that you have a weapon. And if you don't do that, if you just run up and grab the car and take off, and nobody sees a weapon, then it becomes a strong arm robbery. If there's no injuries involved and everybody walks away, but the car is stolen, the police still have to respond out there to the call, because the person that obviously that had their car stolen wants it back. The insurance company wants it returned. The manufacturer of the car wants it returned. Everybody. So it's like this chain of things that happen that police get involved with every single day, and pretty much they have to kind of sort it all out on the fly, sometimes when cars are traveling at high rate of speed.
Okay, Ralph, so we're going to have you stay on top of this scene here. Again, to recap, 2 people have been taken into custody after bailing out of that black Mercedes just a short while ago. They're in Hollywood. A third person ran into this neighborhood, this densely packed neighborhood with a lot of homes and trees. And as you can see, police dogs on the ground, as well with officers trying to locate that third suspect after an armed robbery that happened earlier in the day. We're going to keep in touch with you, Ralph, and have much more on this developing story coming up in just a bit.